Joining me on the program is the spokesman of the 9th Senate in person of Senator Ajibola Basiru. It's good to have you on the program, sir.
Yes, my player.
So the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Basiru Ajibola, says it is now time to end austerity measures and inject a more robust stimulus plan that will rejuvenate the economy. How important is this statement, considering that the power of appropriation lies with the National Assembly?
Of course, one of the benefits one gets from intervention, particularly public intervention by leaders such as Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and as you also know, aside being one of our leaders, is actually the national leader of the party. So coming forward is a challenge for us to see that he does not talk out of frivolity. And when you look at even the pattern of our budgeting in the National Assembly, we have largely been on the side of budgeting very well to ensure that we're able to spend ourselves out of recession and being able to get out of recession earlier in time. And as you also know, that even this year, the budget was robust enough to ensure that we have ample resources coming into the economy. Unfortunately for us as a country, the benchmark price in the 2021 appropriation is at $45 But as fortune will have it, we have had a situation whereby there have been increment in the petroleum price for some period of time, which has enabled us to be able to have some savings, which I believe, based on discussion of the Mr. President with the leadership of the National Assembly, we're expecting a supplementary appropriation, and I believe that the executive will take hint of that very important advice from our national leader.
So you're saying that the National Assembly is in line, is agreeing with the national leader?
Of course, that's you see, there are different modes of economic policies and economic program. And of course, the one being suggested by the national leader is one that ensures that you need to have a way of stimulating the economy by making funds available. And I think that's also the attitude that the United States President, President Biden, has taken by passing a huge stimulus economic package to ensure that more money are put in the pocket of the people to ensure that the economy immediately turn around, particularly in view of the dwindling nature of the economy because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
So all over the country, there seems to be an increasing dissatisfaction with government and complaints about lack of proper representation. Does it mean that elected officers have failed to live up to expectation?
I don't know where you get your statistics from as to say that there is complaint about lack of proper representation. I've been in close contact with my constituents, and I attend programs, both enlightenment program, and I relate with well. I don't think anybody, as far as I'm concerned, have raised the issue.
Well,
of
are you sure you are getting the right feelers from the people?
Of course, I've met people everywhere. I have offices personally in all the local government, and I have aides that relate with people. You see, you must make a distinction between people who don't even have democratic credentials, and they just maybe have a way of just making criticism. When you talk of quality representation, the only way you can talk of measuring quality representation is the output of the National Assembly. And I will say that by the outputs that we have had so far in the 9th Assembly, we have performed well in terms of good representation of our people. And I can give you examples. We have been able to pass legislation that has improved revenue of our country. We have been able to pass legislation that has insulated the vulnerable from the harsh economic reality. Like, for instance, the value-added tax, we insulated businesses that have turnover of less than 25 million from application of it. So what we have done is to increase the rate of VAT for those who can actually pay on luxury goods, on items that is based on the earning capacity of the people. We have also been able to reform, even in the area of police law, the Central Bank of Nigeria legislation, the BOFIA, and so on and so forth, even criminal legislation. So from the output of the National Assembly, we can just say that we have quality representation. Of course, there are rules for improvement, but to say that there has not been qualitative improvement of representation, I will say, even from the credentials of people who are in the National Assembly, the chairman of Fellows and the committee, they are Nigerians who have had their mark in critical areas of the society and their leaders in their own rights.
So what is being done currently to improve on your service to the people?
Of course, knowledge is very important. One of the things that we've been doing in the National Assembly is in terms of improving the capacity of even the legislators. We have retreats, we have a workshop, not only for the legislator, but even for the aides. All our aides are being trained, and their capacity being improved. So those are the areas that we believe that we must improve capacity and be able to improve our ability to give more qualitative representation.
Despite the change of guards in the country's security architecture, insecurity still persists and the loss of lives and property has not stopped. What must be done differently to give Nigerians peace of mind?
You see, I must say that it's unfortunate that the nation is experiencing this state of insecurity, and as a spokesperson of the National Assembly, I would say that we cannot totally insulate ourselves from the unfortunate incident, but that will not mean that we are not doing our best in order to be able to address the problem, knowing the importance of issue of protection of life and security of the people. One of the efforts that the National Assembly has put in place is, of course, the recent meeting with the president by the leadership of National Assembly, where it was agreed that we are going to support the federal government in terms of our power of appropriation to ensure that all necessary materials and equipment as well as capacity development is given to the Nigerian forces and security agencies, and of course in terms of also improvement of welfare and the communication, and of course in the area of the civil policing. Even as I speak, I have a bill seeking to decentralize the Nigerian police along zonal line, which has of course passed the first reading, and I've had a very good signal from our colleague, distinguished senator, of support for that bill. What that bill seeks to do is that while we are dealing with the issue of state police at the constitutional review level, by way of amendment of the Police Act, we seek to have budgetary autonomy and operational autonomy for all the zones of the Nigerian police, so as to ensure that there is effective oversight and effective utilization of both material and human resources to ensure the capacity of the Nigerian police being able to confront the menace of insecurity. If we're able to get the policing right, there will be less pressure on the Nigerian armed forces in terms of having to deploy their personnel to the area of civil security and then concentrate on the more serious war of insurgency and Boko Haram insurrection.
Considering the fact that you just raised the point that you have presented a bill before the Senate, your region, the Southwest, is also grappling with rising ethnic tension. How are political leaders calming frayed nerves?
We are doing a lot in that regard, and that, of course, will entail enlightenment. You see, some of these tensions are born out of mischief, some out of ignorance, some out of lack of even understanding what are the situation. Like, for instance, one of the areas that we need to enlighten our people is that of ethnic profiling. And you journalists have a role to play in this regard. Any incident occur, the next headline you will see is Fulani S-men, even when people have not even been able to capture or even make any arrest in that regard. So we want to appeal to the Nigerian journalists. Let us be conscious of our responsibility to the society and ensure that we report what is actually accurate, not what is not accurate. Therefore, some of the what those I call ethnic jingoists, some of them are actually politicians parading themselves under the banner of ethnicity. I'm a fundamental human rights person. I believe every society has the right to aspire to self-determination, but it must be done within the context of the law and the Constitution. I also believe that there are issues and questions about mutual suspicions among even the elites in the country. These are matters that we need to sit down, address those fundamental issues. One of the key issues that has been bothering a lot of people, particularly from my constituency, has to do with how are we adhering to the question of federal character, because we have federal character enshrined in our Constitution. A commission has been established in those regards. So one of the issues is that are we really adhering to this federal character. And the whole essence of the federal character is to ensure that no region, no part of the country feel alienated in positions both in government, bureaucracy, and even in political appointment.
Holding on to that thought, do you agree with those who say that more dialogue should be, more opportunity for dialogue should be given to those who perpetrate these crimes across the country?
I don't know what you mean by dialogue, but if you are talking about negotiating with bandits, I would say that I'm seriously opposed to it. The whole essence of governance, the whole essence by which we have submitted ourselves to the authority of a government is to protect life and security of the people. Both, if you look either the Thomas Hobbes theory of a government or John Locke theory of government, even the extreme radical view of Marxism talk about coercive authority of the state being necessary to maintain law and order. So I would say that the idea of negotiating with bandits is just an invitation to anarchy. It will encourage and embolden everybody to take the arms against the state, also believing that at the end of the day, it will get some form of reward and rehabilitation in that society. What we need is that we need to strengthen our security architecture. We need to deploy more resources into capacity development, the welfare of the security operatives. We need to invest in intelligence, communication equipment, and technology in stemming out the crime. We cannot take the lame duck excuse of saying that you want to negotiate. It's also interesting, without mentioning name, that a law and order former president of Nigeria would also be thinking and they be giving fillip to such a situation.